Hey everyone, how's it going? So just before we begin, just make sure you like and comment below and subscribe to the channel if you guys like what we do. So let's get started. We're discussing about what's going on with the markets today. So looking at the S&P 500 today, bulls had an interesting day today. Bulls and bears both, as you guys can see here. We're starting to see, price action consolidate here at this level, right? Over the few days here, we've had a choppy action ever since the Fed minutes come out, and since then, we have earnings coming up in this time frame that have labeled until Jerome Powell is expected to speak, which is on May 2nd, right? So this whole area is just an area of volatility that I have listed in blue. Okay, so these few days or the few weeks that we have left here in the month of April, expect short-term volatility. Okay, to be present and expect big moves down and up on both sides. But today, main thing to notice or focus on was the volume. The volume was very, very low today, and we have a low range in the S&P 500, which is which makes sense and which is to be expected, right? Now, the fact is we're starting to get some bids here. We're starting to see buyers starting to push through here. So tomorrow I'll be watching to see if we can get a push above 445 by the end of this week. This week is usually or historically bullish in the market, as this is when tax deadlines are filed. People start receiving their tax breaks soon, which some people do reinvest into their 401ks and the IRA accounts for long-term growth. So which adds liquidity back to the market. So typically these next few weeks are supposed to be bullish historically, but we'll see how it works out. But for the S&P 500 right now, we're starting to catch some bids. However, this level remains important. This is a previous volatility level here where price is consolidated. If we go back to test this level here, chances are we break down the 427 because this will be the third test that the S&P 500 is doing in the past few months of this zone right here between 436 and 427. So the chances are increasing of us or of the S&P 500 to come down right now. However, the higher level is still being held. Supply zone is still being held. So right now it's just straight up consolidation. This is non-directional. But looking at the S&P 500 as well, or the whole market as a whole, this is a huge distribution level. Okay, so the market is just distributing between 473 and about 411 here, or 410. This is a huge level. Okay, the market has not made a high since this time frame right here. This is about January. Okay, we're going 4 months consecutive now. Well, we're entering the 5th month very soon without a new high. Okay, so that's 5 months straight that we're into a consolidation, and we want to see how long we can keep up in the zone, right? If we look at this previously, that we've had experiences before where new highs were not made for an extended period of time, and when they were made, we had a quick drop as well. So just remember that the longer the distribution happens, the greater the drop possibility as well, right? So unless buyers start to really step in here, this is starting to look like a bad scenario for the bulls overall in the long-term picture. If we look at the Qs consolidating in the lower zone as well, between about 342 and 335. So this is all of this. This looks very, very weak to me on the Qs. But I'm not taking any trades. I did take a few trades today that we'll go over at the end. But for now, the Qs are looking very, very, very overdone here. I want to see some buyers step in. If we look at the RSI is below the 50. You see the MACD sell signal. This is not looking good at all for the Qs overall, right? So we're starting to see the strength start to increase in the selling. Okay, this is not something that we want to see. Okay, we want to see strength pick up here. Okay, so we're not seeing that, and volume is obviously confirming that right now that there is weakness all across the board here. Okay, and also inflation numbers are very, very high, right? And we're in a rising interest rate environment. The Qs are absolutely right now overdone, I believe, for now. And I do expect some sort of bounce. If it doesn't come, unfortunately, then we're going to have a quick and aggressive move to the downside. And it'll be very fast. Okay. So the Qs are very exposed here, with earnings starting to show up, starting tomorrow with Netflix. And then we have few more earnings during the week for the Qs that could be impactful, like Tesla. So we'll have to keep an eye out just to see how they do overall. And remember, a trend in motion tends to stay in motion until something causes a change or a shift. So right now we have no trend. It's a downtrend on a smaller time frame, which is a daily time frame. But is this going to stay like this? I'm not sure. But for the short term, a high period of volatility with no direction to go. Right now, the downtrend or the bears are in control for the time being. And it looks like it's going to remain that way for some time right now. All right, so looking at Dow Jones here. Dow Jones, let's look at this on the hourly time frame. Literally nothing going on over the past few days. Consolidation, choppy action. Do not want to deal with this. Do not want to touch this. But the breakout is eventually coming, either to the upside or to the downside. The breakout is eventually going to come. Okay, so that's something to keep an eye on. But for now, nothing to do on Dow. Just let it consolidate, let it chop. Okay, it is consolidating on the higher level. It's above the demand zone, which is somewhat of a positive sign. But we do have a MACD sell signal as well, the crossover, and the RSI is at 50, so no real strength here in the Dow either. Okay, so this all, it makes sense. Now, if you look at IWM, IWM is breaking down its bear flag. Okay, so this is a bear flag right now for IWM. It's breaking below it with volume as well. We got MACD going below the zero line. So we want to see how low this can go. I got a target for IWM around 170. If 170, this is a level where IWM is headed towards. That's what I believe. Okay, so IWM looks very, very weak here, even on the weekly time frame. It looks like it's a rounding top here, and it looks like it's going to come down. It's going to come down aggressively, and it's going to come down pretty hard. KWEB. KWEB is important as well. KWEB tells us about China. I've been saying this as well. If KWEB breaks this level right here, where it's actually sitting on, this is actually not good because this is a gap all the way down until 22. It can fill this gap. So this is not good for stocks like Baba, JD.com, and Baidu. Okay, so this is not good at all. KWEB right now, it looks like it's gonna make its way down a lot lower over the next few weeks here. We got a MACD sell signal below the zero line, which is pretty strong. I think we're gonna get a massive sell-off in KWEB. Fortunately, not a good thing. ARK is unable to get above 70. Then it loses its support at 60. It looks like it's gonna go back and test the support at 52 over the next few days, as long as the resistance level holds up here. Okay, which is a 64. As long as 64 holds up, we're headed way, way lower on ARK here. Okay, gold on the other hand doing really well. Went to a 186, rejected there. This is a big level for gold on the weekly time frame, as you guys can see. But this is a big sell candle right here. Went to 192, sold up. So we want to see if buyers can come in. Okay, otherwise this candlestick that we're seeing right here, this looks like more of an exhaustion candle. Okay, so if that's the case, then that's not good for gold. But if we zoom out on the monthly time frame, well, this looks like a cup and handle pattern that's forming, and the monthly is picking up as well on this candlestick here. So if the monthly closes somewhere up here, we're golden, right? So that's something to keep an eye on. And then VIX. VIX is not letting up. It's still holding, like I said, right? So we want to see VIX below 23 and stuff. So if VIX gets below 23, it's great. If it doesn't, and it keeps shooting higher, that's not a good thing for the market, right? So with FMOC coming up and the earnings coming up with tech, expect VIX to be up. Expect volatility to be up, right? So today, the other thing we want to focus on is the sectors that were up here, right? So XOP, semiconductors, energy, XLF, tech, and XLY. What was down? We had healthcare was down a little bit, home builders, and retail. So semiconductors were not really up. They're bouncing from a level of support or this trend line. We want to see if this continuation happens. Otherwise, it's just a long-term distribution level for semiconductors. So do not get faked out by these random moves and think that this is a reversal, right? This is not your same buy the dip scenario here. right? So these were okay. So even here, you had your trend attached here. Okay. So the trend was attached here. Even here, it was going up just a little bit swayed, to this side. So this line acted as resistance. As you can see now, it's back below here. Okay. So the trend started to change, right? So you can say that this level is still held, and 2 trend line breaks. It's interesting here just to see what happens. So this is not your typical buy the dip scenario anymore, is what I see. Okay, so I would be careful when I'm trading semiconductors. This is more like sell or rip, but if we look at the monthly time frame, right? Yeah, sure. Like, we can say that, oh, these levels are holding really well. Like, we can draw a trend line from here. That this could be a point on the trend line, but it should be like up here. So let's just say we pull back to this point right here. Okay, that's fine. But we don't know if this is the end, right? So this is still looking like it wants to go a lot lower. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. And let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin continued to make its way down on a daily time frame here. But the important thing to know about Bitcoin, it's that it's holding a support level here at 40,000. But its big level is way down here at 20,000, so 30,000 level here, right? 29,000, 145. So that's a big level for Bitcoin here. The other thing to keep in mind is it tried to bounce here, unable to do so, right? So Bitcoin is also weak. The whole market is volatile, and private so sectors like healthcare, utilities, energy, and commodities are strong right now, right? So energy is testing this level at 81, which is a multi-year level of resistance that it's looking to break. Okay, if it gets above this, you'll see energy at close to 100. That's something to keep an eye on. Okay, commodities are also rising to all-time high levels. So they're at this level here. Above this, commodities can easily jump to about 32 and then way higher. If commodities go up, that means cost of goods are going to go up, right? Right. So raw goods. So that's something to keep in mind, right? So the trend right now in commodity is bullish. It's starting to break out here. So this could start a new super cycle in energy and commodities over the next coming few months here. So that's something to keep an eye on, right? So this is something you pay attention to, right? If you guys like what we do, like I said before, make sure you comment and like and subscribe to the channel. We have our trading community where we give out our alerts and we give out our ideas and we share ideas and we try to learn together. And the link to the trading community is below. And if you guys want to sign up, you can. It's all about just learning and growing together. So these are all of our alerts here today. And what we did, we made some big plays here, and we were able to bang out on a couple of stocks like Caterpillar, right? Caterpillar, we got a quick scalp here that we were able to take a part of from the weekend here, right? So it jumped up quite a bit. So always know when to take profits. Don't hold any long-term stuff into this market. Anything can happen overnight, so just make sure you manage your risk, and hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow.